What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon and Elijah.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venezia. Let's get into it. Kicking it off, we got a big week ahead of us. Baby Keem concert, our first concert together. What are your expectations?
Man, I've been a big fan of Baby Keem for probably 2-3 years now, so I'm kind of excited to finally get a chance to see him in person. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I looked up what his set list was online, so I'm looking forward to some of those hits. I mean, and even some of the non-hits that I just love. Like, I want to hear Hooligan, which is, kind of hip, but not that big. Scapegoats, though, that's one that I'm like, I loved Scapegoats on my first listen on Melodic Blue, and I'm excited to see that one in person. There's some pretty low-key songs he's doing in the track list. Like, he does Boom Man, which I would not have expected, but hey, I'm all for it.
Definitely, there's a lot of great tracks out there that we're looking forward to. Marista and I are definitely looking forward to Hooligan. We're kind of running in a little deep to the concert, so it'll be fun. Of course, we've been talking about it since we bought the tickets. Family Ties is just gonna hit different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to bust the floor in St. Louis like they were doing in Detroit. So
no, I'm definitely excited. I hope it's not too wild. I'm all for a good time, but I'm not trying to be too sweaty in the car ride home because we got a journey and it's gonna be a late night.
Yeah, it is going to be a late night for sure. So I'm not looking forward to that, but we'll worry about that after. We'll worry about that after the concert.
Yeah, we'll be good. I also saw a lot of people like on my TikTok and stuff. I'll get in this tangent, I guess, but I feel like anytime I watch like a couple TikToks of like a concert, I just see every TikTok of that performer performing for the next like week. Like, I've been on Call Me If You Get Lost tour TikTok for like a month now. Every other TikTok, I guess, is just Tyler in between sets talking. Somebody threw something on stage, Tyler performing, whatever. And then I made it to the Melodic Blue tour TikTok. And I feel like a lot of people are, meeting Baby Keem after the show. Like, they'll kind of just wait around the tour bus. And I looked on Reddit and they were like, oh, we just wait by the bus for a couple of hours. And I was like, oh my God, you guys are dedicated. Like, I'm not doing all that. I'm not waiting hours, especially late on Tuesday night. No shot.
It's all right. We'll get Keem on the podcast here in a couple of years. So,
years,
manifesting it here
weeks.
right now. Yeah.
Nah, months. But yeah, obviously, besides music, we always talk a little basketball. The NCAA tournament's been on this past couple of weeks here. We're getting down to the Elite Eight here. Who's your pick to take it all now?
You got to go with America's team, St. Peter's. All the Big Ten teams are out, even against Purdue. I was rooting for the Big Ten, of course, but I just it had never been done before. A 15 seed making it to the Elite Eight, so they have a favorable matchup against UNC. So we'll see what happens, of course. But like I was just talking to Devin about, they're not out there. They're not looking like a Cinderella team. They're locked in. They're playing good basketball. They're a good team. So anything's possible at this point.
Facts. I'm definitely with you on that. Like, when I was looking at the teams that were left, I was like, oh my God, like, once they get past Purdue, it's like an 8 seed. Like, they beat a 2 seed, some other high seed. So it's like, why not an 8 seed? You know what I mean? So I was hoping if it would have been the winner of the Iowa State against Miami matchup, oh my God, I would have bet the house on St. Peter's to go to the Final Four. I still think they're going to do it. Like, if St. Peter's won a championship, oh my God.
It is wide open this year. Yeah, it's wide open this year. You don't have this powerhouse team that's just running through everyone. And the only thing that's like, I want to see a UNC versus Duke Final Four, Coach K's last year. That's like a storybook ending there. So either way, I'm winning on that matchup there. What is your Final Four predictions though?
All right. My Final Four prediction. I'm going to say Duke wins against Arkansas. Then, I'm going with St. Peter's. They're just so hot. Once you play them with some confidence, you can't be beat. They're playing with house money at this point. They got nothing to lose. So I'm going with St. Peter's. And then I'm going with Houston and Kansas. And for the championship, I'm going to go with Duke against Houston. With Houston winning, I want Houston to win. That'd be kind of like a somewhat random team, but like they're pretty good. Like, I like watching them play. So that's what I'm picking. How about you?
I like that pick there. So I got Houston advancing against Villanova, although that'll be a great game. Obviously, great energy from that game. 2 great coaches, great programs. And then Arkansas and Duke, that's another interesting matchup there. I'm probably going to go Duke and Coach K's last season. They just have way too much talent. Kansas, Miami, Bill Self, he's getting it done. He's going to the Final Four. Give me St. Peter's, of course. And then give me a Duke Houston. I'll take Duke Houston matchup there, but give me Coach K going out on top. They just have too much NBA talent, and it just pains me. I'll be okay with it, I guess, if Illinois lost the eventual national champion or runner up. So
yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. That's always like a decent way to go out. Like if you go out to like a really good team that ends up winning it all, you kind of respect it, just tip your hat. But yeah, I mean, if St. Peter's pulls it off, the internet's going to break. I mean, they're going crazy on Twitter as it is. And I mean, not only in the Elite Eight, but they're in the Elite Eight, which is crazy. So we'll see how it ends up. But, beyond the NCAA tournament, there's some other basketball coming up for us. We just finished our basketball season. If you've been keeping up with us, we played in a men's league on Sundays the past couple months. Season didn't go so well, but next weekend we're playing in a 3-on-3 tournament. And we're not on the same team. So, you kind of did me dirty. I didn't get the invite to your team. So I had to.
I got invited to a team. Yeah, I got invited to a team. You made it personal, though, by being the Range Brothers.
And I took that personally.
Yeah, and bringing 2 former teammates of mine. So, if we end up meeting, if, these Titans collide, I'm just going to have a revenge game for that,
No, you guys are not Titans. No offense. You guys are pups, but yeah, we're gonna be pulling up in those Range Brothers shirts, and I got my boys.
I'll burn mine on Instagram Live this week. Tune in.
I think we got to go Instagram Live if we play in the championship somehow. I think the Second Avenue podcast got to go live, and we got to just give the people what they want, and that matchup between us would be pretty fire.
Definitely. That kind of showcase, our abilities on the court and everything. So I'm down for it if it happens. That 3v3 tournament's pretty deep usually. So
facts. We're just talking about basketball too much. We got to show the people that we're not all talk. We can walk a little bit too. So that might have to happen. But I heard there's also a 3-point contest. I'm already taking that one home. I don't even know why people are gonna pull up. I'm like Larry Bird in that 3-point contest. I'm gonna leave the warm up on and just take care of business and go back to the bench.
Hey, more power to you. I will not be entering the 3-point contest. That would be a rough. I choke up, especially in front of people. So that'd be awful.
No, I'm excited though. It's gonna be a fun weekend. So we're gonna take home some money, hopefully.
Definitely, that's the plan, of course. Moving on here, out of our intro, let's get into the topic this week. So we have 10 songs that remind us of 2020/quarantine. Let's kick it off.
All right, I'll kick it off with my first song I thought of. And this was the one that just instantly came to mind. It's The Scots by The Scots, of course, Travis Scott and Kid Cudi. I feel like this is one that we're both going to have, but this song just dropped, I think it was April of 2020. And this was just a moment because, you can't talk about this song without talking about the Travis Scott concert in Fortnite. I was in that live watching that. It was crazy. And then they, they did, I don't think they actually played the whole song. I think it played maybe the chorus or just the beat or something, but then they gets dropped in the night. Maybe the whole song played, I don't even remember, but that concert was crazy. That was back when I was hard into Fortnite. So, it was a good time. And this song just I cannot listen to it without thinking of quarantine. This song would have went crazy though, if the world was open, it would be really different. I feel like it just kind of got passed up on, it got forgotten about almost. So still a pretty good song, but definitely not in the rotation anymore.
Yeah, that one definitely fell out of my rotation, but it is not on my list. When you said that, I was like, oh, I forgot about that one. So that is one I forgot about, but I still have 10 songs that, remind me of solid times. Kicking it off though, I'll stay with the Travis Scott vibes here. I have Gotti for my first song. It was late December release, so it was a couple months past, but I mean, this one just stuck in my rotation, of course. RIP Pop Smoke, that just hit different after he had passed and everything. I love the video for it. Johnny, whenever this is playing at the park, I'm locked in, hitting game winners or whatever. So
yeah, I'll never forget that game on the line on the beat drop. You hit that 3 for the win. That was probably the most respect I've had for you on the basketball court. That's maybe your best play I've ever seen. You were different at that time. When Pop Smoke is playing, you're different.
Definitely, there's just so many memories. Just like this is like my song, like right before the party or riding back from the parties. So it's like definitely had to make the list for me.
That's a good pick. Moving on here with my second choice. I don't honestly love this song too much, but it's such a big song. It was on TikTok, it was on the internet. 2C Slide by Drake. This is one I also thought you might have. You might not have it. I don't know. We're gonna find out, I guess. But 2C Slide, I mean, the video dropped. It was a moment. The song was popping off. I'll never forget seeing it on Twitter when Zach Bia was live on Instagram performing it, or not performing, just playing. I guess he's just DJ. But fire moment, decent song. Definitely not in the rotation anymore. That's I feel like some of these songs are. They were moments in 2020 when not too many people were dropping. So they were in the rotation then, but not so much anymore. So what do you think about that pick?
Definitely, I like that. That's another one, where it could have made my list. I remember it's kind of like a little TikTok dance blew up off that. So I like that pick a lot. Reminds me of it too. These songs are making me reminisce a little bit so far. So my second song though, this one's like this one didn't even release. Like it was probably a couple years before the pandemic happened, but we have Topanga by Trippie Redd. My boy Nick Cannon hated this song. Like I don't know what it was. I love the song. I mean, I don't love the song. It's not like one of my favorite songs ever, but it's a good song. I'll play it whenever. But we used to just like take champagne trips just to go get food or something, like constantly throughout quarantine and all that. So me and Levi would just always bang this for Nick and just troll him pretty much. A troll song, but definitely brings back the memories.
I like that pick. That's a pretty good song. It's not really my rotation too much, but like anytime I hear it, I'm like, I do like that song. I feel like the intro is a little bit long if I remember right. I'm like, oh, like it's kind of dragging on the intro here. I'm ready to get to the music. But it's a pretty good song. Yeah, I like that pick. And obviously those food trips, like during COVID, just hit a little bit different. Like if you're driving with somebody, go get food, drive through, and just bring it back. You're like, that was a good day in quarantine. You're like, all right, I'm about it now.
Yeah, there is so many food trips or like just doing stuff like that, and it was definitely just it was what a time to be alive for sure. The world sucked, but at the same time, like the memories that came out, all that, it was just different.
I think we were living different lives. I was like not leaving my house. Shout to George and Amy for that. No, but no, I feel like one time I even went to Dairy Queen in Hoopston with Nathan, and we like didn't even like sit in the same car. We just like stood outside across a car length away from each other. We're like, yeah, that's social distancing, I guess. But anyway, moving on to my next choice, I went with 1238 by Childish Gambino featuring 21 Savage. This project dropped like right when quarantine was kicking off, 3/15, 2020. Of course, just how the album is named as well. An album that I really think got overlooked because of its minimalistic branding and all that. But I loved this song. I mean, 21 Savage and Gambino, they don't have too many songs together, but they got a couple and they're just hits. And like, that's a combination that I never would have expected before first hearing them. I would have been like, oh, that's a weird combo. Like, I don't think I'd be a hit, but they haven't missed. So it's one of my favorites from quarantine for sure.
ATL stand up on that one. Moving on here, my third song. So this is like I think it was late February when this song had released. I saw a little snippet of it like a couple weeks before, and it's Chicago Freestyle by Drake. The snippet I saw was the Drake doing the Superman verse from Eminem, and oh my god, I was in love like right then. That was had me hooked, of course. It was just banger song. Another just brings back memories riding around in the car with the boys or whatever, and just banging Chicago Freestyle.
I love that pick. We both had that as our favorite song from Dark Lane Demos, I believe. So, I mean, we both love that song. It's a great pick.
To backtrack a little bit, we got 230. Won't you meet me by the Bean? Johnny just had his first Bean trip. So,
yeah, I don't know. Somehow, I mean, I feel like it is definitely like a touristy spot. But, it's a cool little art piece, whatever. I've never been to the Bean, though. I mean, I've been to Chicago. I don't even know how many times in my life. I mean, obviously, we're not like, we don't say we're from Chicago, from Illinois, but
from the Chi.
But we've been to Chicago so many times. Like I've been to Chicago, like, I don't know, 30 times in my life. Never been to the Bean though. I don't know how I missed it, but it was cool. But I feel like it's just something you look at for like 2 minutes. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right,
no,
I'm done.
yeah,
Like, I mean,
it ain't all
it's
that for
yeah,
sure. I agree with you on that. So
yeah, it's all
it's a
about
nice
the
little spot to
photo
stop
op.
by and like see it, but yeah, past that, it's like, what do I do now?
Yeah, it's a one-time thing. But anyway, let's move on to my next selection. I went with After Hours by The Weeknd. You know, The Weeknd, one of my favorite artists of all time. And After Hours actually came out on my birthday. I guess it came out like as my birthday was ending. It came out technically on February 19th, I guess, but got to enjoy it like at the very end of my birthday in the central time zone here. And I was like, okay, this is different. Immediately it reminded me kind of like a mix of like that trilogy sound with a little bit of, like Kissland vibes. And I was like, all right, The Weeknd is going to be doing something with this next project. And sure enough, I think it's maybe one of his best projects he's delivered so far. And I'm excited to see what he does, obviously, after Dawn FM with Afterlife or whatever the third part of this next trilogy is going to be. But After Hours was just the start. And, one of my favorite projects, really got me through quarantine, honestly. I mean, he was my top stream artist of 2020. So, yeah.
Definitely, he definitely killed it with After Hours, and just a memory between the two of us. Just going around to Goodwill and everything, and looking for this red coat for your Halloween outfit for the After Hours cover.
Facts.
So I mean, yeah, that definitely brings back a little bit of memories there for that. So.
Yeah, 2020 Halloween, I dressed up as The Weeknd. I got the After Hours fit, the black dress clothes with the red coat, of course. Have to have that, and the sunglasses, have the bandages. Turned out pretty well. I got a women's coat from Goodwill for like $4. It was fire though, it fit. So I was like, all right, I'm with it.
Definitely, that was like the first time we'd hung out in like forever. I remember because I remember you and Lauren had helped me with like my for graduation. I had to write out a paper and everything for my class officer speech. So I mean, we talked a little bit over that, but for quarantine, we didn't really see each other too much. So that was like the first time we had linked back up in a while. So.
Facts and all. It was a good time. So yeah.
All right, moving on to my fourth track here. We kind of talked about this a little bit with Eternal Take. We didn't talk about the song, but Eternal Take dropped on Redbird Day for me. And that was March, right? Or right at the beginning of March there for my Redbird Day. And Uzi dropped Eternal Take. And my favorite track off of it though was P2. And it's kind of fallen off of my rotation, whereas all these other ones have kind of stayed in there. But I just remember back I had AirPod, just listening to my AirPods and everything, and there was like versions I'd listen to where like P2 in the left ear and EXO Tour Life in the other ear. So I mean, it was pretty cool mashup there. I like the song. What would you say your favorite track off Eternal Take is?
I really don't listen to Eternal Take too much. So it's kind of hard to pick one, but I think I would go with Prices off of the standard release. And then if I was to pick something off deluxe, I would maybe go with Yasirski with 21 Savage. Both the songs are pretty solid. Don't listen to them too much, but when they come on, I do like them.
Okay, respectable there. Yeah, like we talked about, it definitely is not in my rotation very much anymore for the complete album, and kind of a flop in my opinion, but it is a core memory, I will say. So
Facts. Moving on to my next pick. I chose Takashimurakami by Six Dogs. RIP Six Dogs. Honestly, one of my favorite artists of all time. I love Six Dogs. And this was just a great song. Super catchy, super good beat. I don't know. That's all. Don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Six Dogs.
What's
RIP.
understood doesn't need to be said,
Facts. Have you listened to Six Dogs? What's your
a little bit, after he had died, I listened a little bit. I do like the track though. Obviously, Murakami, that's big name out there, so I had to give that track a listen. I'd agree, it's a good track and everything. All right, but anyway, moving in on my next track here, we have the Kid Leroy track. He was so huge, like in quarantine for me. We had started like banging Let Her Go, me and Levi, and then he had tracks like Lil TJ, and then he had Go as well before he dropped his first album. But I chose Selfish off Fuck Love, his first project he had dropped, and I liked the project and everything. It had me in my toxic bag, of course, all throughout that summer. I would just go to parties and like I don't even know why I would do it, but we just like all just ride back to that and just get sad for no reason. It was kind of funny, but it's the memory it brings up for that for sure.
That's an interesting pick. I don't really listen to Kid Leroy too much, but I was like going through all my old playlists, like trying to think of something, this different songs I was going to choose. And in my April playlist, I think it was I had Addison Rae by the Kid Leroy because I would just like add new songs as they got released because there wasn't too much that was dropping
Yeah.
around that point. So that was the one I was thinking of if I was going to pick a Kid Leroy song from that time period. But I like that choice too. Moving on here to my next choice, I chose I Don't Rap Beef by Draco the Ruler featuring Earl Sweatshirt and O3 Greedo. RP Draco, back to back rappers that, passed away sadly. Didn't intend to do that, but that's just the way my list worked out. But obviously, Earl's one of my favorite rappers as well. And, I don't know much about astrology. I've mentioned this in another episode, but Earl has a line. He's like, "She know I'm a Pisces. I'd be swimming through the pussy." And I just love it. Like, it's just so funny to me for whatever reason. Like, if you're mentioning your astrology sign on a song that's like that hard, like, it's fire.
Definitely. And I feel like, like you said, you had two back-to-back people who had passed away. Like 2020, we lost a lot of like famous figures and everything. It was a crazy year for sure. So just RIP to all those, but like you said, back to back. It's crazy.
Facts. It's pretty crazy. Like obviously the Kobe death in 2020, like that was just, I don't even want to get into it, but I was down horrendous for days thinking about Kobe. Like I would just be in class and I would just be like,
yeah, like no, that was like one of the people.
Table.
Yeah, one of the people you just like not like obviously everybody's gonna die one day, but that was just one of the people you would not expect to die like so soon and so suddenly. And like from a music standpoint, I kind of associate Juice's death with 2020. It was late December or early December there, kind of late in the year. So I mean that's another person we had lost. Pop Smoke as well, and then like you said, Six Dogs. But
yeah, there. I mean, I was like, I'm not like really superstitious, I wouldn't say, but sometimes there's like some coincidences, and I'm just like, that's weird. But
the bad vibes were out for that year.
Like, there's this bar in Bloomington, and I went there, and then the next morning, Juice WRLD, I found out was dead, and then I didn't go there for a couple of weeks, and I went there on Saturday night, and the next day Kobe died, and I was like, this like I'm not going back there, but sure enough, I've gone back because there's not too many bars around here that are like fun. But nobody else has died, so the superstition is broken. But man, took out two legends. So
yeah, those are two deaths. Like you'll never
worried.
Forget where you were.
I was worried. Yeah.
All right, moving on here to my sixth track. I have "Desire" by Juice WRLD. Another one that I mean it was kind of a little released a little bit before officially quarantine. Off Death Race for Love, one of my favorite albums. It just reminds me of like a really good night with some of my friends. We're just on Levi's roof listening to this, and the vibe just went crazy on that. So
yeah, that's a good pick, especially like any song that has like a memory attached with it that's like hanging out with people during quarantine. I feel like that just hits a little bit different because there aren't too many, I feel like. So that's a good pick. But my next choice is Cellular by King Cruel. King Cruel, not a rapper, but I just love his music. Like such a unique sound. I feel like he gets a reputation for being like really like sad. It doesn't really make me feel sad, but I just love his music. I feel like instrumentally he's just like a great artist, and his vocals are like really interesting. Like I feel like you either love him or hate him. Have you had a chance to give King Cruel a listen?
I have not, but I guess I need to right after this, after we get recording here. So
yeah, I feel like you'd like him because he's kind of like, a little bit more on the alternative side. Like he's definitely not a rapper, but I feel like, maybe you could say he has like a little rap influence. Like I know he's got like pictures back from like 2013 with like Tyler and Earl and them. So I feel like he maybe has a little bit of inspiration from rap, but he's definitely not a rapper by any means. But I feel like you're into that lane a little bit, so you might like him, but he's definitely got a unique voice. This album came out like right before COVID started. His album called Man Alive. He's got a couple of their albums before that. They're pretty good too. But Man Alive is my favorite. I feel like it's just the one I heard first. And it's like the sound I got most attached to, but pretty good project. So I definitely recommend you checking that one out.
Moving on to my seventh choice here. This was a January release. So, it's a couple months, let it serenade. But this one was like, I felt like had the biggest social media presence out of either of our lists here. I have Life is Good by Drake featuring Future. I remember the memes with this went crazy. The video went crazy on that. It's overall a banger track, and definitely, is stuck through my rotation throughout quarantine and even now.
I like that pick. That was actually like in my Spotify rap playlist, like one of my top 100 songs from 2020. So I loved this song. It was such a good track. I don't know. I feel like there's some songs you just have like a vivid memory to, and it could just make like no sense, but just be super specific. I remember like during summer 2020, like I still wasn't doing too much. Uh, my sister and I went to the park and played tennis, and I was playing music on my speaker. I just remember listening to the song where we were playing tennis. Like I don't know why, but that's my first thing I thought of when this song
Yeah.
was brought up.
Yeah, throughout quarantine, like Monocle's never closed, the pizza restaurant I was working at the time. It never closed. I mean, that was me. I was always working on the weekend like usual, waiting to get off, go do whatever after work. So that's just like that's like my core memory from it.
Yeah, that's a good memory for sure. Like work on the weekend like usual.
Yeah, I was really
you're
him.
living
I was
it,
I
yeah.
was living that. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on with my next choice. I know you're gonna like this one. I want Moving On by Lil Peep.
Okay, yeah, that's from they did a little EP for him. I remember at the time.
Yep. And at the end of 2020 or end of 2019 was the first time I had watched Everybody's Everything, the documentary, and I was big on Peep right after that. Like I was like, okay, like I liked Peep when he was alive, even been a fan of him ever since. But after watching the documentary, I was like, I just want to listen to Lil Peep right now. So I was listening to Hellboy a lot, and just all the old stuff. And then this little EP got added shortly after that. So I was like, okay, I'm bumping this, and I don't know why, but that was like one of my favorites in Belgium. Those two, I just was bumping.
Belgium was like one of the first songs that got me into Peep. I'd always have to go back to SoundCloud to listen to that. So I was definitely respected when they got all those on there. Moving on to my 8th track here, got my boy Roddy Ricch. Had to show him some love. This is like one of my bigger artists of 2020 that I liked a lot and everything. I have Ballin' off of Perfect 10 by Mustard. And then which is in concert rotation, just another banger track. I feel like I don't have too many songs that have too much sentimental meaning behind it, of course, but just another quality banger for me.
For sure, can't go wrong with that. So the next song I chose was Clouded by Brent Faiyaz. Brent just cannot miss. One of my favorite artists. This was my top string song of 2020. So I feel like I have to give it a shout out. The project dropped shortly before like quarantine time, but I loved it immediately. I was like, this album's different. I guess not really an album, it's an EP or whatever, because Wasteland, the album's coming later. But I loved it. Such a good track. It like really might be one of my like all-time favorite songs. I don't know. I just love this song.
Definitely respectable answer there. I feel like I started listening to Brent for the first time. It was like my senior year, so that'd have been 2019, 2020. So it'd have been like late into the year, probably like I'd say November or December. I started listening to Saunders Son and everything. So that's kind of in that time period for me as well.
Yeah, that's the way I got onto Brent was actually, well, obviously like Crew and stuff, but besides that, I feel like I don't know what came first, like Crew Time or this, but the other memory I have with Brent is the song Too Fast, which is another great track from Brent in his group Sonder. That was featured in the season 2 trailer for Atlanta, which season 3 just came out. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. But it was in the trailer, and I was like, what is this song? Like, it's so good. I hadn't heard it yet. So I looked it up and I was like, I love this. And it's funny because Cellular by King Cruel, the song I just mentioned, was in the season 3 trailer. So like, I think they're just listening to my playlist at this point to pick the songs for the trailers because they're picking some heat. So I love it.
Definitely. We'll talk about Atlanta later. I won't get into that yet. For my 9th one I have here, I have Driveway by Lil Peep. It's off Crybaby. They released it on the 4-year anniversary, and I think it was like June, right at the beginning of June. They had put it on streaming services and everything, and it was like the first domino to fall for me. Well, kind of the EP, like you said earlier, but then we got Hellboy a little bit later. So I mean, just one of my favorite Peep projects, of course. Good memories. Although they don't have Falling for Me on there, that was like one that was in constant rotation for me, but samples couldn't get cleared on that. So.
All right, I like that. But moving on to my final choice, I went with Amphetamine by Smino. Definitely not a new track when quarantine was hitting, but I just remembered so one class I was taking, like all my classes got moved to remote, obviously because of COVID. So I had to take a class and it was marketing analytics, and it was like coding on a program called R, and the test would take me like hours to do. And so I'd just be listening to music to like make it somewhat bearable. And I listened to Smino's album, and Amphetamine just like hit different that day. And it was just like in constant rotation since. Like it's like a 10-minute long song, but it's so good. It doesn't feel like 10 minutes. It's one of those classic long songs that just hits, like Runaway, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Like I put it up there with like one of the best long songs of all time. Like I love it so much.
I respect that answer. On marketing analytics a little bit, I had some trouble there. I was like done with my final. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. My teacher came in clutch, though. It was like more of a personal conversation between Jonathon and I, but that's the class, marketing analytics, that the professor came in clutch. So shout out her.
Shout out.
All right, my last song here. I feel like this one has like the deepest meaning for me. This is probably a song I'll never forget and everything, just around the timing. I have Graduation by Juice WRLD featuring Benny Blanco. If you guys don't know, I feel like I've talked about it before, but I was graduated in 2020. Unfortunately, we couldn't have our graduation due to COVID and everything. So, I feel like, we had a little parade, and I feel like the day we were just all banging this, and there's just a really good memory to have, a good song to cherish for all that. So.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I graduated in 2020 as well from college. So I feel like people were playing that too, but like we weren't together. So it was like super viral on like TikTok and stuff around this point. I should be like, oh, I'm missing all this stuff because of COVID. And I was like, I felt that. Like some of my friends were still at school, like whatever, but I was at home in Hoopston just chilling. I was like, man, this kind of sucks. But hey, whatever, we moved on.
I remember like the most Hoopston thing ever, was having a parade for a graduation, like tractors, or I was in a golf cart. Yeah,
I remember seeing you. Yeah,
that was a good time to have, of course. At least we got something,
Yeah, that's definitely a classic Hoopston thing. Like I just saw a Instagram story the other day, and it was like typical things when you meet somebody else from a small town. You just try to debate who's from a smaller town, and then somebody gets to the point where it's like, we had drive your tractor to school today, and I was like, yeah, we had that too. Like I don't know how common of a thing that is, but we were living that. We were really him.
Yeah, that explains Hoopston,
It really does. Like I feel like people just don't get it. If you're not from it, you just don't get it.
All right, moving on here. What are some other things that remind you of early COVID? Like video games, TV shows, TikTok. Let's hear some of your answers for each of those.
Ooh, man, I don't even remember anything specific about like TikTok, but I just spent so much time on TikTok. I remember like I would just be chilling. It'd be people making jokes about COVID and stuff. And like, obviously like late COVID quarantine. Well, it's not really quarantine anymore at that point, I guess, but like the NBA bubble, that was like crazy. Like when the NBA was finally back, like I'll never forget finding out Rudy Gobert tested positive.
Yeah, after you touched all the mics and everything.
Yeah, he was like, I don't even know, but it was just like, that almost made COVID seem real. It was like, at first it was like, oh, it's just COVID, whatever. Like I remember like the first time I heard of COVID, somebody was talking about, I was like, what's that? Like, and that wasn't even like that much before the world got shut down. Like, I don't even know. Like we were in a little bubble here in Illinois. Like it wasn't affecting us until it was one day.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's like I feel is okay. So I kind of have a hot take. I saw someone post it, and I don't know. What's your opinion on this? You brought in the NBA a little bit. That bubble was peak basketball.
No.
That was like, well, like, the athletes are there. That's all they can focus on is just hooping. You're getting guys like TJ Warren dropping 50 pieces, Dame going crazy, D-Book doing what he did. Like people discredit the bubble, but the more you think about it, all these dudes could do was hoop. And I don't know, that was some crazy moments from the bubble for sure.
No, we definitely got some crazy moments. Like obviously like Jamal Murray against Donovan Mitchell, that matchup was crazy. The Heat making their finals run, like it was a super good time for basketball. Like, and I was so appreciative to have it back after it being gone for a couple months. But I don't think it's anywhere near the peak. Like I think the peak of basketball was like the excitement of the fans and like the moments when you get that crowd reaction. Like, and just without that, it's just, I don't know. It just can't be peak basketball to me.
Yeah, I feel like if you take out all the other aspects and you just focus on hooping,
I mean,
The guy had a point there for that aspect of it for sure.
no, there's definitely a point to be made, but then there's also the argument about how like it's easier to play basketball. There's no fans, and literally all I have to do is focus on basketball. So it's like if that's how every season was, the NBA would be really different. Um, so I don't have an answer on what like my peak NBA would be. Like I can't point to like, oh, this season would be my favorite. You know, honestly, like right now, this season the NBA is kind of crazy. Like there's so much parity in the NBA. Like for the first time in a while, like I don't know. I love the NBA right now, but so I don't know what my answer is.
Yeah, I think that's probably not my answer for peak basketball, but you know, I can hear the argument for the basketball aspect of it. But like for the time of being a fan, like the 2016-17 season was just different. That LeBron versus Warriors final, Kobe's last season, the Warriors broke the record. I mean, you just had a number of different things going on. That was probably the greatest finals ever, in my opinion. But
yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's classic. But obviously, besides basketball, there's other things that remind me of COVID. Video games, like playing Fortnite was like just what I did during quarantine. Like I did my homework or whatever, but then I played Fortnite and I was just grinding. And then Call of Duty Warzone came out and I was just grinding that. And so those are really like the two video games. Like when you're talking about that is quarantine to me. Like I feel like it was just clockwork. Like I would just play video games every night with the boys and like it just took me back to being like 15 or 14 or whatever and playing Call of Duty, and it just hit different. Like I loved it. It was just a feeling that just like I hadn't felt in a long time with games, and I just loved it.
yeah, no, the gaming was different at that point. You're to backtrack a little bit for TikTok. So I just said I hadn't had this. We've been super dead at work or whatever. I hadn't had this. Like I had a notification on TikTok because I was really anti TikTok. I think I got it in like January of 2020. I was like, I'm not folding, I'm not getting it. But once I got it, you know, it's just glued, of course. And I had like a time limit set. So like every hour that I was on it consecutively, it would like give me a little notification. And yeah, I just had that pop up the other day. I was like, damn, I'm down bad. But then like moving into some other games I would play, you know, the 2K grind was at its peak with the boys. We were running rec every single night, or park against each other 3v3, filling up the course with just our squad. So I mean that was probably my most prominent game from the time.
Yeah, that's fire. Like I feel like something about COVID, it just brought people back to playing video games that hadn't played in a minute. Like I remember like the one thing that's not great about having Xbox is like there's not that many people that I'm friends with that play 2K. Like obviously many games are now cross-platform. It doesn't really matter what system you're on, but like there's not that many people that play 2K with. And I feel like that brought people that weren't playing 2K, they bought it, and like we just were always, you know, we were playing rec, we were just having a good time. Like, and I didn't play 2K much before that, so I had like a 75 overall build. Like I sucked, but it was just fun playing with the boys.
Yeah, it's just fun to play, of course. What are some TV shows from early COVID that you remember?
I mean, man, the one answer has to be Tiger King. Like, I just remember grinding Tiger King. I was like, this is crazy. Joe Exotic is crazy. You know what random thing I just found out like a couple months ago? There's some random guy who was like either in the show or he works with Joe Exotic, or used to, I guess. And he like lives in Hoopston.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember
like,
seeing like
what?
a Facebook post about it. It was so random. So I mean, it's just crazy.
And like I looked the guy up and I was like, I've never seen that guy. Like maybe he was in the show, I don't know, but it's just so bizarre that I mean, because there's people in Hoopston that have like wild animals. And so he came to Hoopston to work with them, and I was like, all right, that's crazy. Like small world, I guess.
Definitely. Would that be like your only show, or do you have some others there that were, you know, just key memories?
You know, I think 2020 was the first year I watched Community. I'd always wanted to watch Community, and now it's like my favorite show of all time. Maybe like I love Community so much. Donald Glover obviously kills it. Joel McHale is pretty funny. Chevy Chase like kills it. Like I feel like he's a little bit past his prime, you know what I mean? But like that's like he's like from the 80s or whatever. Like that's like my parents' time. But you know, great show. One of my favorites. I got my sister on it. We just started watching it around the same time. But yeah, Community has to be our choice. What about you?
That's definitely on my watch list. But I have three shows that just like scream quarantine. This one the most. All American. That show was like huge at the time. Everybody was watching that. I haven't watched it since, but like at the time that show went crazy. Yeah, the first season of Outer Banks as well. That was also, a great show to watch. And then my last one for me, this is like one of my favorite shows. I still watch this to this day. It's You. I hadn't watched season 1 or 2, but I binged it all over quarantine. So great show there.
Those are good picks. So I don't know why, but I never watched Outer Banks until the most recent season came out. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know why, I just never got around to it. Like, I was like, I think I saw like a certain group of people watching it. So I was like, I'm not watching this show. But then I eventually caved. Nathan actually told me to watch it. And I was like, okay, if Nathan tells me to watch it, that's like the official stamp I needed to watch it. So I did. Same with You. I didn't watch You until the most recent season also came out. And then I watched it. I was like, okay, it's pretty good. But All American, I forgot about All American. I watched every season that's on Netflix. Like, so I'm in on All American, but I think there's a season that's on TV right now, so I haven't got around to that one yet. But
definitely,
I like All American. It's pretty good.
Everybody was on that show at the time. I feel like it. We'll definitely have to get Coop on the pod. Talk a little music.
The Coop face hits different. I love it. It's so funny. That was like a memed thing. It's like, I feel like it's like a character from SpongeBob or something. And she's got this sad face, and you're just like, Coop, you fucked up. Like,
I can't stand Coop. Yeah, I can't stand her.
But I love the Spencer memes, like my mom's and Dylan. Like
the TikToks, yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's not supposed to be funny, but it's just the way he does.
It's kind of funny.
It is. And it's like, one thing I love just randomly is like when English actors play like Americans.
Yeah.
And like they have to do an American accent. Like Daniel Ezra, the guy that plays Spencer, is from the UK. And so like he's got a British accent, in real life. And then he's just like, Coop and my mom's and Dylan. I'm making it out of Crenshaw. And you're like, yo, okay, you don't sound like that. And then he goes interviews like, got an accent. You're like, all right, that was weird, but all right, go crazy, man.
I mean, that's like, I feel like it's a pretty like, it's a standard thing in shows almost. Like The Walking Dead, that's one of my favorite shows. Rick Grimes, he's British. I think Maggie's British. There's a lot of like British people in that show, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, it's kind of impressive how well they could do it. Like Jacob Elordi in Euphoria, we've been talking about that too. He's from like Australia or something, and he just doesn't have an accent at all, like on the show. But that's another weird thing. Like, do people think Americans have an accent? Like, to me, it's just normal. To us, it's normal. But like, they probably have some accent that we have. Like, they make fun of our accent. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just can't hear it, obviously.
Definitely. So moving on here, let us know some of your favorite moments from quarantine, or like shows, video games, or like TikTok videos even that we have missed, or trends with that. But wrapping that up, let's get into some music that dropped this week. There was a ton of stuff that dropped. It was a busy Friday and Saturday for me. How about you?
Yeah, like honestly, I was thinking about, with the podcast, we kind of like, I don't know, not to say we have a voice, but we put our opinions out there, and like these are kind of be out there for, unless we take them down, like they're forever. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta like have a good opinion on these songs. Like I gotta develop something. And I'm like, I didn't listen enough to some of these, I don't feel like, but I listened a decent amount. Like there was just so much this week, it was like a little bit crazy. But yeah, getting to some of the albums that released, let's get into that. This week we had albums from Nigo, Buddy, Lotto, Kilo Kish, MGK, Ty Fontaine with an EP, and of course we have to mention Denzel Curry's album Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. This was the biggest release of the week, one of the most anticipated albums of 2022, I would say. What do you think of this album?
I liked it. First listen, it's so hard to judge an album and give like a proper rating from your first, or even your first few listens. So I mean, definitely something that's a serenade with me. But tracks like X-Wing and Mental were my favorite off first listen. How about you?
I loved Mental. That, I don't know why, but that what stuck out to me as well. And I feel like that's funny because in our Saba reaction, we both had 2012 as one of our favorites. So I think it's funny that we also have the same one of our same favorites this time. But I also really love Sanjuro, one of the later tracks in the album. as well as, of course, Ain't No Way with Black, Rico Nasty, JID, and Josiah. Like that song was crazy. Had high expectations for it, and it lived up to them.
So, I mean, what do you think stuck out from this album? Or, was it what, what stuck out to you from this album?
I think the big thing that stuck out to me was the production. I mean, it was so good. This is like one of the best produced albums I've heard in a while. Like every beat was great. It just sounded like it went together. But beyond that, like the themes and the lyrics were so good. Like you look at this song, John Wayne. I mean, walk around the hood like I'm John Wayne, 9 on my hip. I'm gonna let that bit bang. Like, I don't know. Like he's just talking about some real stuff, you know what I mean? And then like there's another song. I feel like it's the intro. He's talking about his relationships with the girls and different things that kind of were bad in his past that he's kind of like owning up to. It's like interesting. And that song's called Melt Sessions or whatever. So it's kind of like, it's kind of a theme, like opening up about what you did, as well as it's like kind of a social commentary about a lot of things and what it's like in America right now.
Definitely, it was very like introspective there, like you were explaining with the first track, of course, and lyrically he killed it, and then along like you said, the beats and everything, he has killed it with that as well. So definitely a very good project, and I mean this one could end up in a top 10 list for albums of the year for us.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will. I mean, not to go on for too long about some of the lyrics, but I mean, also if you look at a song like The Last, that's definitely another one of my favorites. I mean, the chorus, any day can be our last, so much trouble on the streets that we need to buy an AK, bring a mask for the whole day, we ain't trying to get sick, so we walk around with no face, the USA is a cold place. Like that's just part of the chorus, but I mean, talk about some real shit right there. I mean, that's a good perspective that obviously I'm open to any perspective, and Denzel's is one that we haven't heard in a while, so it's great to hear what he thinks about everything going on, all the different social issues right now. So
another one that was got a little reaction out of me when I was listening. Fuck it, TikTok bought a new watch, it's my time now, where's my G-Shock? That was like, damn, like it's kind of G-Shock from back in the day, of course, so I like that a lot.
That's fire. I got one last one I gotta go with. This was one of the ones that just like I did a double take when I heard it. Actually I have two. The first one, Bitch I'm a King, R.I.P. to King Ghidorah. That is an alias of MF Doom, and so I was like, I love that. Like that's a fire bar. And then the other one, I feel like everybody I've seen talk about this album mentions this line, but it is such a good line. I gotta give it some love. Run the Jewels because I kill a mic on any LP. That's crazy because obviously Run the Jewels, Killer Mike, and LP, to get both members of Run the Jewels shout out in the same bar. I mean, that's fire. So Denzel just got a different pen game. I love it. Love having him back in the rap game. It's been a long time since Taboo. So I'm excited to see what he's got coming in the future. I mean, who knows when the next project from Denzel would be. I'm just ready to enjoy this one for as long as I can. And, we'll see what happens next.
Definitely a very impressive project. You guys definitely got to give that a listen.
But we're giving a lot of shine to Denzel. Let's get into some of the singles that dropped this week. There's a couple of them. Kid Cudi, Chance the Rapper, Deontay Hitchcock, Tory Lanez, Lil Skies, 42 Doug, and Omar Apollo. Did you have a chance to give any of these a listen? I mean, obviously we got a lot going on with those albums. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Nigo album. Let's talk about the Nigo album. Actually,
yeah,
really
that's
quick.
what we're moving on. I was like, I want to talk about the Nigo album a little bit. Just what was your favorite track off the Nigo album for you?
My favorite track off the Nigo project has to be Come On Let's Go with Tyler. I mean, that song just hits different. Like, obviously I love Tyler, so anything he touches right now is gold. He hasn't missed in years, it feels like. I feel like everything he's put out or been a part of has been great. So that was definitely my choice. What about you?
I had Remember by Pop Smoke. We don't really get Pop Smoke on too many I don't know the word I'm looking for the beats, but it's just not a drill beat. I'd say it was something a little bit different that we had him on there, and I thought he killed it. I thought Nigo killed it with pretty much every beat on the project, and it was a really good project, really deep track list there with all the artists he had featured and everything. So,
facts. It's really tough to compare a project like that with Denzel Curry's album, just because they're totally different, but both great in their own way. I feel like Nigo's project was definitely not like a life-changing experience. Like I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Like the world's a better place having these songs out now. Like I love some of these songs, but don't think I'm gonna go back to some of them. But any song that had Rocky on it, Tyler on it, even Pharrell, the Pop Smoke song was good. Those songs hit, but some of them, like the Kid Cudi one, I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say when we got to Kid Cudi's single. I liked his single a lot more than I liked what he had on the Nego project.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say about the Nego project. I mean, I loved having ASAP Rocky back. I'm ready for whatever ASAP Rocky's got next. And I loved one of the lines on the Lost and Found Freestyle 2019 with Tyler the Creator. He said, "No buns in the oven or babies in the stroller." And it's really funny because it's from 2019, but then fast forward to when it actually releases, and he's got one on the way with Rihanna. So that's pretty crazy that he said that 2 years ago, and then you fast forward and sure enough, one on the way.
I'm still hurting on that one, so we'll move on here. So we had a lot of singles here, like you were saying too. Kid Cudi, Chance the Rapper, Deontay Hitchcock, Tory Lanez, Lil Skies, 42 Doug, Omar Apollo. What'd you think of Chance's track? Everyone knows you're a big Chance fan.
Got the merch on, had to put it on today. I was a little bit nervous going into this Chance song. I was like, it's a miss. Like, outlook is not looking good for Chance. Like, I don't know, but Chance delivered on this one. I think. I mean, it's definitely better than anything that was on the big day. I would say he's definitely more mature with his rhymes. I feel like the beat was a little bit, it was chill, it was pretty subdued, but all in all, it's a pretty good track and makes me fairly hopeful for what's next for Chance and fairly confident that he could put out a strong body of work this year.
Definitely, it wasn't, like anything bad, or I didn't have anything bad to say about it. I like the track, got an add to my library. So like you said, excited to see what Chance does with this year.
And I really thought it was interesting, like the way this track started with the whole intro with "Just do your thing, child, just do your thing." I was like, that's probably something that Chance has to think about. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you're Chance the Rapper, you have to be overthinking the next move of your career so much, just because like he was at the height of the mountain, it felt like back in 2017, and then now it feels like he's almost starting over with his career. Like, I feel like
it's definitely a new chapter.
You know what I mean? Like, obviously not the very bottom of the mountain, you know what I mean? But like,
he's got something to prove for sure.
He's got something to prove, and there's not a song that everybody's got in the rotation. Like in the past, you had No Problem, Mixtape, like all these tracks off Coloring Book, and then the features later, Ultralight Beam, what all these other features. Like, Chance was unavoidable in the late 2010s, and then the big day happened, and now it's kind of like he's fallen out of like everybody's rotation except for like the diehards. So I don't know. It's just tough. I mean, sure, he's got to just do his thing, and he did his thing on this track. So,
just gotta keep building days. Like the basketball team, keep building these tracks. Just keep putting out good music.
Facts, and I'm hoping
there is a big target on his back. Like we've talked about. Like if he kind of underwhelms again, it's be a scary sight, but he's still not too old in age or anything. He's still got a lot of time. So I just think there's too much pressure put on these artists nowadays.
Facts, but I don't know. Chance is living a good life. Obviously, he was happy with the big day. So whatever. I don't think he cares too much. I'm sure it's obviously not great having a lot of bad backlash from the public, but he's living a good life. So whatever. But anyway, let's get into some other news from this week. Atlanta season 3 premiered this Thursday. Have you got around to watching Atlanta yet?
I have not. That was when we were talking about it earlier, I was like, I definitely got to get around to it. What you said, it's on like Hulu, right? Or
yeah, so it's on Hulu. New episodes come out on Friday. Little plug.
All right,
for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely have to get into it. You've not failed me on these shows yet, so we'll probably come back next week. I'll have the whole show finished. So we'll see what happens though.
Yeah, there's 21 episodes in the first 2 seasons combined, and they're 20 some minutes each. It's a quick watch. You catch up real fast. But no, so I won't give everything away with season 3, but man, it's been years and I was ready for this comeback. So, and it did not disappoint. Episode 1 was wild, and episode 2 was, back to the Atlanta I love. To give you a little bit about Atlanta, I don't know how much you know about Atlanta, but I feel like I'm not making this up. I feel like Donald said this. He says, "Curb your enthusiasm for rappers." Do you know what Curb Your Enthusiasm is?
I do not know.
Okay,
I'm sure I will. Yeah, if you
I'll explain. So Curb Your Enthusiasm is a show by Larry David, the co-creator of Seinfeld on HBO. It's been a really popular show, but it's kind of just like he plays himself, and it's just kind of like real life situations. It feels like real life situations. Don't know what's true and what's not, but it's a lot of like improv. Don't know how much improv is on Atlanta. I feel like it's mostly scripted on Atlanta, but yeah, it's just kind of like real life situations. And I don't know. That's just how Atlanta feels. Like it feels like you're just living the life of Paperboy and Earn Marks, and yeah, you're gonna like it. So let us know when you get caught up, and then we can officially talk about Atlanta.
All right. Yeah, I got a busy
week.
week this week, so maybe I'll start grinding a little bit this week, and hopefully
Take your time.
All right, moving on here. Brent Faiyaz posted a screenshot of a text message conversation saying the soft deadline set for his upcoming album Wasteland is June 1st. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm so excited. It's honestly a little bit later than I was expecting, and so that kind of surprised me. Like I thought this album was coming like January. Like when we got Mercedes at the end of 2021, I was like, the album's coming soon. Like I'm ready. I thought it was gonna come at the end of 2021, honestly. But hey, June's not too far away anymore, so very excited for this project. I somehow forgot it in my choices for the albums I'm excited for in 2022, but we talked about the following episode. But it might be my top. Like Brent was one of my favorite artists with Fuck the World. So obviously I just mentioned Clouded. So, we'll see what Brent's got for us, but very exciting news.
Definitely moving on here. Pusha T with a McDonald's diss track. I mean, I feel like anything he does at this point is not going to surprise me.
I was surprised by this, honestly. It was crazy. Like, it was as perfect of a song you can make about the filet of fish as possible. Like, I don't think anybody out there can make a better diss track about a filet of fish.
I think you're right on that. It's just like, it's just crazy, First he had Diet Coke, and then now he's got McDonald's. He's wilding before his upcoming album here.
Facts. It's pretty crazy. I mean, that song was just honestly out of the blue. Like I was not expecting anything from Pusha T for a minute, and then we get a diss track from Push to McDonald's. It's funny because he's the one that made the whole world love it. He says in that diss track, it's pretty funny. So obviously, for those of you who don't know that are listening, Pusha T was one of the co-creators of the "I'm Loving It" jingle for McDonald's.
Bringing up another McDonald track, this will take you back to like high school. My RIP 3 Pac, he's got I Love McChickens, of course. That's another McDonald's track that comes to mind for me.
When you said that, that's where my head went, but I didn't know you knew who 3 Pac was. 3 Pac followed me on Twitter, so RIP 3 Pac.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know why he followed me on Twitter, but shout out to 3 Pac.
Yeah, RIP the GOAT.
Do you know how he died?
I do not know.
3 Pac drowned, and he was a collegiate swimmer.
Oh.
So geez. I don't know if he was like in the ocean, the currents got going, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like you were D1 swimming, you died from drowning. Like that's surprising.
That is surprising. That's an ironic way to pass away.
But anyway, let's move on to the next piece of news. The Grammys allegedly tell Kanye he cannot perform this year. What was your reaction to this news?
I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, but it's just one of those things. Like, dang, it kind of sucks, of course, but Kanye is gonna Kanye. I don't think Kanye probably doesn't care about performing at the Grammys. He's cooled down on social media a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, with his public image and everything.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that it's not surprising, but it's like they're just missing a moment. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the last year has been just such an important piece of Kanye's career. Like after Jesus is King, people are like, oh, maybe Kanye's done. You know what I mean? But then this has been a pretty good resurgence, and I feel like that would have been a great chance for him to, show he's one of the greatest to ever do it on a huge stage at the Grammys. Obviously, he's shown it time and time again throughout his career and has other opportunities to do it, even with the Donda shows. But the Grammys are different. I can understand why they're not rocking with Kanye after he peed on the Grammy. And, they still gave him the awards, you know what I mean? Like the next year. But yeah, I'm not surprised they're not letting Kanye perform or chose not to pick Kanye to perform. But I kind of would have liked to see it.
Definitely, that's a performance I would like to see as well. So I definitely agree with you on that. Moving on here, Lil Durk says him, Lil Baby, Kodak, and 21 are running the game right now. What are your thoughts?
You know, I feel like this headline was going around a lot and it was kind of out of context. Like he kind of said like there's others like bigger than them, but they're like the next generation. Like, and so he's not like wrong, I don't think, but I don't know. I don't like the phrase running the game. Like the running the game artists are like Drake and
Yeah,
then Kendrick when he drops in J. Cole. Like everybody knows that though. And then even in that interview, Lil Durk kind of mentioned about Young Thug and Future. And I think those two also are a step
yeah,
above the
definitely.
people he mentioned.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. I mean, there's probably even a few more artists we can throw in there, but just I don't have any off the top of my head. But
I mean,
you know,
Travis
yeah,
is above that group
Trav.
as well. I mean,
Yeah, I would put them, C tier. You have your A tier with, guys like Kanye, Kendrick, Cole, like you said, and then you get your B tier guys, Thugger, Future, Travis.
what tier are you putting Tyler in?
I'd put Tyler probably an A tier at this point.
Yeah, I think he's bigger than them as well. Like I was sitting there when I was listening to that Nego project, I listened to it like on the way home from somewhere, and then I pulled up and I was like finishing the last song, and I was just like, Tyler is like one of the best rappers, and we're just like blessed to be alive when Tyler the Creator is alive. Like I love Tyler the Creator, and I feel
I
like
think
he's just not. He doesn't get the respect he deserves sometimes. About like greatest rapper of all time, nobody's throwing Tyler the Creator up there, but I wouldn't call you crazy if you did.
he's got a very strong resume. I will say that. And
And
he's
the
done,
growth,
yeah, like we've done, he's had different aspects of his career as well. So,
you
I
know,
mean,
we'll see when it's all said and done. But
yeah,
man,
I'd listen to that argument.
yeah, we'll see. But I mean, I was just like, I love this. Like Tyler's so good. Doesn't get the respect as a rapper he deserves. So we'll see how it when it's all said and done. We'll see if he does, but he deserves it. So anyway, let's move on to another piece of news. Juice World is apparently getting a Fortnite skin coming soon. What are your thoughts on this? You know, we were granting Fortnite over like the winter, haven't been as much, but Juice World getting a Fortnite skin is kind of, it's kind of random. I feel like.
Definitely kind of random. It's like he's been dead for it'll be coming up on 2 years here now. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. It's just kind of like you said, random and everything. Probably get on there and cop it because I am jealous of that Travis Scott skin you have. So
Oh, you don't have it?
I do not know. I
Whoa,
did not play Fortnite at all at that point. I wish I would have and just got on and copped it, but
that
I
skin
won't
hits a
I
little
won't
bit
make the
different.
same mistake twice, I guess.
No, I had to cop the Innocent Pack skin as well. Like I don't really buy things on Fortnite, but like if you got an artist I rock with, I gotta support them at least.
Definitely. All right, moving on to our last piece of news here. Lucid Dreams passes God's Plan as the second most streamed hip hop song on Spotify. What are your thoughts on that?
That like honestly was kind of surprising that God's Plan was that high. Like obviously God's Plan was like a moment, but it's honestly bigger than I had thought. Like it was a huge song, and it was obviously the biggest song off of Scorpion, which is a huge album. But for some reason, I just would not have thought that it was at the number 2 spot. But I gotta ask you, do you know what the number 1 spot is?
Uh Give me an artist here, like, or we'll give it away.
I think it'll give it away, but I'll give it to you anyway. Post Malone.
I'd say I kind of want to go with congratulations here. So that'll be my answer.
It's Rockstar, actually.
That would have been my second guess there. I love that track as well, but I can't say I'm surprised. That song was huge. That's like one of the ones where it was a single that had dropped for Beer Bongs and Bentleys, and I remember like exactly where I was when I listened to it for the first time.
Yeah, that song is also bigger than I would have thought, though. Like huge. It has like 2.4 billion streams on Spotify or something, like crazy numbers.
Definitely, and I would honestly expect like Lucid Dreams to be up there. Like you said, God's Plan kind of came as a surprise to you. So
Yeah, I
I
would have
think
thought
it's
Lucid Dreams would be number 1. Also, like that song was huge, although it has as much time as some of these other songs, or at least Rockstar. Rockstar came out like a year before, I think, before Lucid Dreams. But I think one day Lucid Dreams
Yeah,
will probably be number one.
definitely. I definitely agree with that.
So when I was looking at the post that said this, I was reading the comments and somebody was like, what's number one? What's number one? You know, and somebody's like, oh, it's Rockstar. But then there was another comment with another song. And I was like, I could see that being number one. It's not in the top three. Sad by
Sad.
X.
Yeah, no, that song was. I would like put X right in that conversation just because the like outreach, not outreach, the target market it has. There's not a target market for it. Like little kids can listen to this song or whatever on TikTok or whatever. So I mean, I feel like the reach with a lot of these songs is a good point in why they're getting so much. I don't know if I'd want my little sister listening to like Lucid Dreams or something, but it is a catchy song. So
Yeah, and that song's like on the radio and stuff, so it makes sense why it's so big. But I think that just about wraps up the news for this week. Pretty big week, lot going on, a lot of good releases. So be sure to go give some of those albums a listen if you haven't already, especially the Denzel Curry and also the Nego project. But we do have one question this week from the audience. Question from Devin. What rapper has your favorite tattoo?
this one was a pretty easy answer for me. I'm sure you could guess it, but I'll go with the Crybaby Lil Peep tat. Just such an iconic thing, just this huge tattoo on his face and everything. And I like seeing when he got it and Everybody's Everything, the documentary for it. What would your pick be?
I mean, that was what I thought your pick was going to be, so I'm not surprised at all by that. The obvious one for me, it's the Gucci Mane ice cream cone.
Okay, I like that.
Like that, I have a shirt, and it's like an airbrush of Gucci Mane's face, basically, and it's got the ice cream tat, and it's just like, that's iconic. Like that, to me, is one of the best face tats in the game.
Definitely, these face tats are crazy. I would never do it, obviously, but these it's something, for this especially, it's like a really good talking point for the artist to get out there and everything. Lil Skies came to mind, with his face tats and kind of the lyrics he's had on the face tats and everything. So
exactly. And I mean, once you get a face tat, it's kind of like, you're committing yourself to a life that's not an ordinary life. You know what I mean?
That is like, yeah,
you gotta grind.
Let me pull up the lyric for that. He is one of the, like, it's a really deep bar. And my boy Ezra, who wants to be a UFC fighter, he's talking about like getting a neck tat and everything. So he's got like no way out of it. He's all in.
I respect it. Like, if you're that committed, why not? And you want to get it. It's not just like you're forcing yourself to get it or whatever. Like, if you like it, why not? But then the thing with tattoos, like, what if you just don't like it one day? You wake up, you're like, that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially like later in life, of course. It's like, did I really?
Yeah. When this question was posed, there was one tattoo that immediately came to mind that I was like, that might be the worst tattoo. And that tattoo is Chance the Rapper's tattoo. I think it's just on his chest or something. And it says, get back to work, but it's backwards. So when he looks in the mirror, he sees get back to work. And then he like said off like Ellen, I think. He was like, that tattoo sucks. And I was like, it does. Like, that's an awful tattoo.
Yeah, luckily the technology is a little bit, it's getting more advanced to where they can remove them a little bit better. I have the lyric here. It's Lil Skies on Welcome to the Rodeo. I got tattoos on my face. I use that shit as motivation. I could never get a job, so for my dream, I'm dedicated. I'm like,
bar.
Yeah, that is a bar, that's deep meaning behind it and everything. So if you're feeling inspired, you want to go be a pro athlete or a rapper, like a UFC fighter, just do it. Full send.
Full send.
You got my approval.
Full send. Get the Second Avenue logo on your face and we'll give you a shout out. No, we'll get you more than a shout out. I don't know what we'll get you, but if you get that face tat, that's the motivation.
Definitely. Yeah, there's no going back at that point.
You can be an official third member of Second Avenue Podcast. You get that face tat. I'll say it right now. I'll speak for
I'll
you.
pay for it. I'll get the card ready. Just let me know. We can work something out.
But anyway, I think that just about does it for the episode. Of course, we're running a little bit low on fan questions. Elijah's mentioned it in the past. Hit us up. Comment on our Instagram posts. Hit the DMs. Give us some questions you want us to respond to. Some of these questions we've got, I'm like, those are episode-worthy questions. give us these little short ones. They don't have to be about rap, about music. They could be about us. Get to know us a little bit. Give us a little question.
Movies or other stuff outside of music, of course. We like answering questions. So
anything, just life in general. Let us know.
I'm on my knees begging right now for questions, guys. If you're on YouTube, you can see me right now.
He's begging. But anyway, that just about wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week we'll be back, give you a review of the Baby Keem concert we went to, and talk about some other stuff. How about the new